Hey guys, so today I want to talk about a few of these biotech stocks, and lately I've been kind of avoiding talking about this topic, but today I kind of want to share which one of these stocks I feel is going to be running up the highest and going to be potentially having the most to gain from a vaccine for this most recent disease that has been coming out and affecting the whole world here. Now, if we do take a look at Moderna, they were the ones that first started running here towards the beginning of the economic downturn, and they were worth around $80 at their top, and I almost went in around this $70 to $80 price range because of the fact that I thought Moderna was going to be the company to develop this newest vaccine. Now, unfortunately, they had a lot of shortfalls in their testing, and actually, some news of their trial got leaked through the World Health Organization and through other studies. And essentially, what happened was that they had a big price downgrade when people kind of realized that this was not going to be the first stock to put out a vaccine. Now, we do see here that they are treating a lot of medicines that have to do with mRNA, and they also focus on these other type of technologies, but type of coronavirus or the norovirus vaccine is not really what they focus on. And as a result, I feel that a lot of people have kind of poured out of the stock. And even though it still continues to have strong volume here on the day of 17 million and even some strong dollar to $2 movements throughout the day, they haven't been able to keep running up their price. You can see here that they're worth around $60, down $3 in the week. So they're not really having upwards momentum anymore, and they're kind of more trading along with the SPY. Now, if I did pull up the SPY month chart, it looks very similar to Moderna's week chart. And what that kind of means is that the stock market in general, as a whole, is kind of following the movement of these biotechs and kind of trying to follow what news comes out, because the sooner that news comes out about a vaccine or about some kind of recovery, then the sooner that the stock market will be able to come back to its highs and continue running into the bull market here. So Moderna is not one that I would recommend around the $60 price range. I think that their price could fall even more. Now, we did see this big drop with them immediately after the news to around $48, where they have this second key level here. And I would say, yeah, watch around for the $50 range if you are very bullish on this stock. It's unfortunate, but I don't think that they can continue running up into the future unless some kind of incredible news comes out in that they're participating with the recovery process or some sort of vaccine production or manufacturing here. So yeah, the next stock I want to talk about is one of these penny stock runner type plays. And a lot of people were talking about Vaxart about 2 weeks ago, around June 24th, when their stock did get an analyst upgrade to around the $50 range. Now, unfortunately, with these penny stock type plays, everybody's going to think that they can continue going upwards. However, that doesn't necessarily think that just because they're worth pennies or they're worth only dollars, that they have infinite upside. That's simply just not the case. You can see that they ran up to around $10 here, but even the next day were not able to hold up this price and continued running down throughout the week. Now they're having a little bounce to around this 753 resistance, as you can see here, especially on the week chart, it's very clear. However, you can see that they're not being able to break this $8 range as people are kind of waiting for more news about this stock. However, one good thing about this stock compared to Moderna is that they do focus on norovirus and respiratory viruses. So that is a kind of indication that this stock might be more poised to potentially come out with the type of news or vaccine that could move a stock hundreds of dollars in a day and potentially push this stock up to its range of $50 or the analyst sentiment of $50 here. Now you can see that their earnings are also very good. They're doing very well here on the day as well. They're coming up a dollar or $2 because there has been a lot of good news coming out for the industry as a whole here that I'm about to explain in a second. Now, the next stock that I actually thought was going to be the one to release the vaccine here was Inovio. And I was actually very bullish on this stock coming into the $35 range. I was kind of waiting for them to hit this range as they were worth around $15 before. Now, the reason that I liked Inovio more than Vaxart was because they already had an established price and they are a late stage biotechnology company. So if any news did come out with Inovio and a vaccine, then it could potentially be news of a finished vaccine or potentially news of some kind of vaccine being released onto the market or manufactured, which is going to move a stock a lot more than simply news that they're working on some kind of cure. So yeah, guys, Inovio was the stock that I was looking at to rocket up to around the $50 to $60 range, such as we did see with Moderna and the hype at the beginning of the crisis here. Now, if we do look at how much they've cost in the past, you can see that in the last 3 months, they're up around $15, and they're up above this resistance point here that they were having a small resistance at, and have been able to come up even more in the last month. However, if you look at the weekly chart here, their growth did stagnate after a lot of news came out in the industry and the SPY started to sell off as a result of fears of a second wave coming. However, we know that with the second wave, there was a lot of infection. However, there was a lot less deaths. So that was very, very positive for the stock market as a whole and for people kind of seeing whether or not this was going to lead to a second closure of the economy here. However, at this point, it looks like people are going to try to push through and not simply just close everything down and have another economic downturn, such as we saw in January, February, and March. So, yeah, now I'm coming into my main play here, guys. Now, I would say Novio is a runner that could potentially come up more if they do have more involvement into the market here. However, it does seem like the market has found its winner here with Novavax stock and with the fact that the US government has started betting on them to be the ones to release a vaccine here. Now, you can see all these articles in the last hour to 4 hours are about Novavax stock potentially making a deal with the US government and winning funding from the US government in order to produce a vaccine. You can see that their COVID vaccine just got 1.6 billion in US funding, and although this may sound like a small number compared to other things, the fact that they're putting all their eggs in one basket with Novavax here is very, very positive towards the stock's growth. You can see that this news has essentially rocketed up the stock around $60 to $70 in the last month as people kind of hear this news and assume that Novavax is going to be the one pushing out a vaccine here. Now, if Novavax is the one to be pushing out a vaccine, and if they are the ones that are going to be continuing the race towards reopening everything, then I feel that they could run up to an infinite price here because of the fact that this is the savior of the market. You can see that they were only worth around $5 here even a year ago, and as soon as the stuff started getting ramped up around COVID, then all this stock started to pop here, and you can see that they broke this level, and are now just flying up and haven't really reached the level for them, next level for them to break here. So I would kind of take a close look at what's happening with the stock as I can think that they as I can see that they have a potential to continue running here into the next month or maybe even into the next 2 months if they do come out with some sort of vaccine, even some sort of plan to release a vaccine once it's done, then they will continue running up because alternatively, then the other companies such as INO, Vaxart, or Moderna, this stock has already been bet on by the US government. So the US government is putting their faith behind this stock, and that's essentially what's moving them in the last week to month here. Now, you can see that they did reach a price high of around 109. However, they're slowly coming back up to this price and could potentially break this within the next week or 2 weeks time here. So just take a close eye on Novavax. They're the ones that are farthest in the race to releasing a vaccine and to finding a cure for the virus here and to saving us from this boredom of staying at home and potentially letting us come back out of our homes into the future here. So definitely, if you have an investment to make it on Novavax. They're the ones with most to gain and with most good news coming out for their stock and for the race towards the virus here. Now, this isn't how my usual videos go. I'm not showing any key price levels or anything like that. I'm just generally saying which stocks have a higher chance of continuing upwards and which stocks have a higher chance of pulling back. Now, Vaxart, I do think that they're due for a pullback here. They already pulled back around $3 or $4 from their highs. However, I do think that they could pull back even more because this is just a hype type play, playing on the news that this type of industry is biotech industry and they're very positive with the vaccine stuff right now. And I know I feel that they might be able to continue running up because of the way that they broke these key levels. However, I think that Moderna does have the most to gain. If they do come down to the $50, $52 range, then watch out for their price to have a strong bounce if they do have any sort of news, because they were very, very highly intertwined with this industry and with the race for the virus vaccine at the beginning or around 2 months ago time, which is when you can see that their stock bounced very heavily to around the $80 range here. So yeah, guys, just keep a close eye out on all these stocks. Any of them could potentially be winners if the US does put their faith behind them, or if they do potentially come out with some incredible news about finding a cure, finding a vaccine, or anything that could potentially help the US economy recover here. However, in the short run, Novavax is going to be your winner here. You can see that when we were talking about them just now, they were around 106. Now they're breaking 107.89. So yeah, guys, this is a potential runner stock type play. You can see that they can move around $5 to $6 in a day, and if you would have caught this at the low of the day on options, you'd probably be up even around 100 to $150 right now as a result of this short move during the day. So they do have a lot of volume, a lot of volatility, and this is a stock that can continue running up if there is more good news coming out about this vaccine. In the short run, watch for a maybe small pullback to around the $100 range, as this is what usually happens with these news type plays. They have a cool down. However, look for them to continue running up to maybe the 120, 130 range here into the next month or 2 months, as more news starts to come out and more recovery on the SPY starts to push a lot of these vaccine stocks and biotech stocks higher and higher up in value. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and watch out for those plays.